I'm Alessandra with RevZilla, and today we're going to take a look at the Rokker Highway and Freeway women's boots available at RevZilla.com. So today we're going to take a look at two pairs of boots from Rokker, the Freeways and the Highways. Now they're very similar in terms of the way that they look, but there are some key differences between the two. So getting into the Highway boots, they're going to be a main leather construction. They're handmade in Portugal, which makes them really awesome, as are the Freeways. But one thing to keep in mind is fit. So that's where we're going to have our first difference in these two boots. They're both a size 38, which I typically wear, but these are going to be slightly more wide than the Freeways. Just a little bit, just around the toe box. Nothing super notable, but something to keep in mind if you have wider feet. You may want to go up about half a size. That said, if you have any concerns about fit at all, orders over $39 ship for free. And as always, if you want to see what other boots are available at RevZilla, click and subscribe to our YouTube channel. So now that fit's out of the way, let's get into the rest of the construction of the boot. As I mentioned, you have that leather throughout, but in terms of the color, this is going to be a true black. Now, if we have a look at the Freeways, this is going to be an antique black, which means that it actually patinas over time. The more miles that you put on the bike, the more these are going to change in terms of the way that they look. So if you want something that really shows that wear in over time, those are the options for you. If you want something that's black that will definitely like break in over time and show some wear, but stay on the darker side, these are the option for you. So starting at the top and making our way down, this is going to be a higher coverage boot. And something that's notable is that it doesn't have a super wide opening. So most jeans or whatever you're wearing are going to go on the outside. But if you do have a skinny jean, they can probably fit in. They just have to be really tapered at the bottom. Now, moving down the front of the boot, you'll see it's a really classic, simple design. It has like that Swedish has-been look. So a little bit more of that Swedish like pull-on clog, which I think is really nice. But it's a really sleek and simple. And then at the front of the boot here, you just have a reinforced toe box. So a little detail, but that's what actually makes it more of a motorcycle specific boot, is having those types of reinforcements work throughout. Now, if we go along the side of the boot here, again, you have like that classic Swedish kind of look. And then at the top here, you're gonna have a buckle. Now this buckle is gonna make you tighten things maybe about like ½ an inch. So it's not a ton in terms of adjustability. It's more of a styling factor. But along the back here, this heel is going to be reinforced. You have a really subtle Rokker logo as well. And this is where you actually have the heel. So between the two of these, that's another difference in this boot. This is gonna have a 2½ inch heel, and that's gonna have a 3 inch heel. So that one will give you a little bit more height. This one will give you a little bit less, but it's still pretty notable. I know for me, I'm 5'2". My bike's a little bit on the heavier side because it's a Sportster. So having additional height gives me a little bit more leverage over the bike and makes things a little bit easier when I'm getting on and off and moving it around. The other thing that's notable about the sole is that you're going to get a nice grip pattern all along the front here. And again, giving you a little bit more stability on and off the bike. Now, one thing that's also notable is that both of these have this little yellow square. Sometimes that indicates that it's a Vroom Sole. That is the case on the Freeways, not the case on these, not a Vroom Sole, but still gives you a ton of grip, like I mentioned. Now at the back here, again, you have a reinforced heel, and then you have these bevels here. What's nice about these is that they're nice and comfortable against your foot, but also give you just a little bit more give along the back. Now along the inside, really not a lot to take away from the design to make it look moto. These look really classic, but on the inside here you have a snap closure with a zipper behind it. Ooh. And then on the inside, what I really like is that you have this leather finish. And the leather is really, really soft. It has a nice feel to it. And behind those bellows that I showed you on the back are these nice foam padded bellows as well, which just make this a lot more comfortable. So just a nice little detail. And that pretty much sums it up for the Highway boots. Let's take a quick look at the Freeways. So as I mentioned, they're fairly simple in terms of the leather. This has a 3 inch heel, this has a 2½. There's not a ton of differences except for maybe the leather finish and a few other stylistic details. So along the front here, you'll see that there's kind of this equestrian style like stirrup. This is actually removable. So if you want to keep it, you certainly can. If you don't, it slides right off very easily. So when you don't have this on, it's just like a very sleek very similar design to this one. The only real difference is you don't have the buckles there. And again, it's going to patina a little bit more over time. One other notable thing though is the sole. So these, as I mentioned, do have the Vroom Sole. You'll see it right there. And you know, personally, I ride in boots that have a Vroom Sole. I think that it does make a difference. Just makes them a little bit more comfortable to walk in over time, but they still have that nice grippiness and really give you a lot of stability on and off the bike. Now, one other just really small detail is that instead of having the bellows at the back, you're actually just gonna get a pull to get these on. So all in all, not a ton of difference, but definitely some notable things that are more of a personal preference of figuring out what style you want to go with. Do you want to spring for a Vroom Sole? Do you want a little bit more height? Or do you want something a little bit more low-key with that Swedish classic look? So that's my take on these, but if you want to learn more about what other women have to say about the Highway or the Freeway boots, click the info button on your desktop or mobile device and see what they're saying in the reviews at RevZilla.com. If you want to speak to one of our lady gear geeks, give us a call at 877-792-9455 or shoot us an email at cs@RevZilla.com. Thanks for taking a look at the Rokker Freeway and Highway boots. I'm Alessandra. I'll see you on the road.